It's unexpected.
This- literally came upon Dave and went, "Sorry, Dave, we're now live." But yeah, Dave, let's do the usual that we would do normal times and check our
Yeah,
minutes.
I think I think we are. I think I normally say that, don't I?
You normally say that
Um,
in
yeah, I haven't had the
the chat.
notification yet, and no one's popped up. Quite often, people pop up and they're like, "Hey guys, how's it going?" And we're going, "Are we still live?"
We are, we are.
Um,
Well, look, if you have just joined us, as always, do give us a little hello, happy New Year. Yeah, give us a little thumbs up, just so we know who's here. But a big happy New Year to everyone. I can see some people on now. Here we go, Marky V, of course. Happy New Year, mate. Joel, James, Amanda, Kurt McSweeney. Happy New Year. Paul Meacher, Paul, great to see you on here. Great stuff. Let's wait for a few people to get on. Scott Wells. All right, Shaggers. Yeah, yeah. I think you want to put the sheep before that, just so everyone knows.
yeah,
Otherwise,
well,
they might think that we're just Shaggers.
yeah, well, they eat Amanda is what I say,
Oh, happy New Year. Yeah, no, great. It's great to be back. Yeah, 2022. Wow. Can't believe it. We're into 2022. It just feels like, Dave, we had just come back from Everest Base Camp in 2019.
I know.
We did Killy in the beginning of 2020, and then now suddenly we're in 2022. I mean, what's going on?
It's weird, isn't it? It's very weird. And this year is going to see some changes. So help me, I'm getting out on the mountains. Um,
Absolutely.
yeah, I've got some plans this year. I'm sure you have as well. I'm definitely going out to Nepal this year. I don't care if I have to swim. I'm getting over there.
Exactly, mate. No, it's certainly been a mad, almost 2 years now, isn't it? Coming up for March, but we're full steam ahead. We've actually got some people out in Tanzania at the moment, which is awesome.
We have
Uh,
indeed.
we don't normally. I say don't normally. We haven't normally run trips much at all. We had some in the autumn. We had some training weekends last year. We also had some activity in Nepal. Some people over in Mount Tupkal, which is amazing. But now we've finally, since 2020, had our first customers on Kilimanjaro. They're trekking at the moment. They arrived on Saturday, so they're on
Yep.
their way up Tuesday. So I guess
Shira camp, Shira 1.
Shira one now, isn't it, on the plateau today? Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah,
Okay.
so they would have arrived at Big Tree yesterday.
Yeah.
I remember it like it was yesterday because it was the last thing I pretty much did before this all happened. I always joke about it, but the last time I was in Kilimanjaro, I hadn't realized the price of hand sanitizer had skyrocketed. I was handing it out like candy, and when I came back, I realized I lost about 300 quid's worth. So nice, but yeah, that was Big Tree, and then
Yeah.
today they'd be going up over the plateau to Shira 1.
Yeah. It's a good day. That's
Yeah,
a good day, actually,
is
isn't
that
it?
the elephant's back? Is that the day or is
Yeah.
that tomorrow?
No, today. That is elephant's back today. So it's a bit of a beast in terms of
Yeah,
increase of altitude. It's 700 meters, but yeah, altitude awesome. It's just finally able to be able to do that. But this year, 2022, we're I know it's still pretty nuts at the moment, guys, but we're very excited. The fact we're running trips as we're doing these lives is amazing.
yeah.
And the fact is, we got heaps of people ready to welcome in Nepal and other countries this spring. So yeah, we can't wait. Just a bit of a precursor. If I do sneeze or cough or splutter, I'm just getting
Mhm.
over
Kumbu.
not COVID. I had a PCR yesterday, but yeah, I got a bit of man flu at the moment. So yeah, a bit struggling a bit. But I didn't want to miss the live because I've missed you guys. It's been it's been our first live since when, Dave? Since was it just before Christmas, right?
Just for Christmas, yeah, and also, and I'm just going to point out that although you have got a cold with this, no one will notice any different because I think the sneezing has been present on every single live we've ever done.
That's true. That's true.
Yeah, you've had the Kumbu cough since before you went to the Kumbu. In fact, arguably, and did you cause the Kumbu cough? Did you bring the Kumbu cough to the Kumbu?
No, fortunately I didn't cause it, but maybe I've added to it over the years.
Yeah, yeah.
Uh, but no, it's yeah. I get what you mean, Dave. But yeah, I wanted to make the effort and come on today. It's been a bit of a mad week since getting back. But right, Dave. Yeah. So today then, I know we were umming and ahhing about today because we always like to start off the new year with a positive as much as we can. If you've been anywhere around me and Dave, the Evertrek community, we're all about positivity. And we thought, well, you know, it has been an unexpected couple of years. And as much as we try and hide from the fact that unexpected things do happen, it's good to talk about it. You know, and the unexpected things that happen on a trek, any travel experience, it could be going to the shops, could be ice climbing in Switzerland, right, Mick? Or northern Italy. I hope you had a good time, by the way. Very jealous. Yeah, and the unexpected is sometimes a good thing, like when things happen that, you know, surprise you. You know, it really adds to the experience. Before we talk about that, and as well as that, you know, we'll also talk about, you know, the other side of the coin, because as always, we like to give you guys the full scope of what travel and adventure travel is like, and yeah, the things that don't you know, quite go right, and the bumps in the road. So yeah, we want to kind of you know, talk about the full scope of it. But yeah, Dave, so expect the unexpected, mate. What's where do you want to start with that?
Yeah, so I think everything that we do has fundamentally changed in the last sort of 2 years, right? And we used to say that, you know, adventure travel, it's not a holiday. You need to roll with the punches and stuff like that. But it kind of used to be like a bit of a line. You know, we always knew that we were like in control of almost everything that we did. But actually, it's becoming more and more true as time goes on.
Yeah.
And adventure travel is becoming more adventurous, especially during these. If I can get through this entire life without using the phrase unprecedented times, I'm going to be really happy. So, yeah, you know, things are different. You know, things are different now than they were 2 years ago. And expecting the unexpected is going to be the way that we all need to kind of adapt our mindset in order to get the most out of these trips, because things change last minute. You know, before we used to be able to plan years in advance. Now we almost do it by the week. You know, and things do change. And I think having that mindset, and one of the things I keep going back to was, and I keep going back to it in my mind, is if you've watched 14 Peaks on Netflix and you've watched Nims's journey to do all 14 8,000 does in 6 months. Was it 7 months? Just under 7. Yeah, like expecting the unexpected was, and you know, rolling with the punches, going with the flow, whatever you want to call it, was pretty much fundamental. You know, that's how he managed to do it. You know, he didn't get derailed by things that you know, sort of flew in the face of what he expected, and he carried on anyway, and it made it more adventurous. And I think that's what we're going to sort of hopefully talk about today, is some of our experiences.
I mean, I'm just thinking off the bat now. Clearly, we're very organised, and we always have these examples lined up for you, don't we, Dave? No, but we were thinking, you know, about, okay, were there some examples of where it didn't go to plan, where actually it worked out? And I'm going to start, if it's all right, Dave, I'll go first.
Yeah,
mate. I want to talk about a little story actually when I was with the first time I went to Everest Base Camp, and it was in. This is something I'd never done before. Obviously, Everest Base Camp, before Evertrek, you know, we're talking 6 odd years now. Wow. And basically, yeah, I was so excited about the trip that I wanted to write about it. I started a little blog called Welshman Walking. It's still there sometimes in the ether. And I wanted to write about my journey because I thought, right, you know, I want to start writing about it. It was something I was really passionate about, you know, the mountains. So I went out there and I stopped over in Istanbul. And whilst I was in...
not Constantinople.
No, this is Istanbul.
Not Constantinople.
And
you know the song? Sorry.
No. That's niche, Dave.
Yeah, that is niche. Yeah, that is niche.
And yeah, basically, I remember in between flights, because, you know, there was a short stopover. And I know there's been a few questions the last couple of weeks around stopovers and how long. I think mine was about 50 minutes. And you know, to be honest, it was a bit too short. But I remember looking at my, you know, my boarding pass, and I was like, I got heaps of time. Great. I'll sit down. I'll type. And I do get sucked into my writing. I remember typing away. Anyway, probably about 50 minutes had passed. But I was so deep in terms of, you know, writing about the journey. And I sat next to a Gurkha on the plane. So and we had whiskey and we were chatting awesome stuff. Anyway, I soon realized that, you know, it got to that time where I looked at the board and I couldn't see my flight on the board. And I thought, it's only been 15 minutes. What's going on? Anyway, clearly, I got my times wrong and my flight had gone. So I missed my flight to Kathmandu, which was very, very oops. Luckily, I was on my own. You know, it wouldn't impact anyone else, but it certainly may change my trip. Because I remember when I arrived in Lukla, so there was a bit of a knock-on effect. When I got to Lukla, I met a couple of Dutch guys, guy from New Zealand, a guy called Igor from the Ukraine. Great people. And actually, I know I wouldn't have met those people if I'd kind of not missed my flight, if you know what I mean. And having missed my flight, met these people. We actually did some traveling afterwards. We all got to Everest Base Camp. We went down to Chitwan National Park. And it was just one of those things. It was maybe serendipitous, but I suppose that's just one example for me of it not going to plan. But actually, I wouldn't change that because I met some awesome people, and I share some stories. If any of you got some stories similar to that, or maybe where it hasn't gone right, you've missed a flight, maybe you've been ill, or maybe it's your travel journey took a bit of a detour, but actually that detour made the trip. One of those, and yeah, share them in the comments. Always keen to hear these. Dave, what about you? Any stories like that? Sorry, I was going on a bit right there. Must have gone to Constantinople.
No, yeah. I think it's one of those where I think probably though it's the way that sort of unexpected things can sort of change plans for the better is what I've experienced more than because I've never missed a flight. That would stress me out, something chronic. But you don't get stressed out by anything. But one thing I do enjoy is that I was supposed to go to EBC back to Everest Base Camp for a 5th time after we did Kilimanjaro, and that didn't happen. Obviously, like a lot of other people, I had to sort of change my plans last minute with the outbreak of the C word, and that hasn't happened. And then 2 more times I've actually attempted to try and book back on and go back out there like you guys, and it hasn't happened. But each and every time I do it, I'm having more and more time to think, train. I mean, my training went out the window a little bit. That was another thing that I was unexpected. But one of the things now is actually my plans have completely changed. I'm not going to go back and do Everest Base Camp for a 5th time now. The longer time that it's taken me to actually plan this trip is realized, well, actually, I'm going to go out there and climb a mountain now in May, which is the new and revised plan. But it may have happened anyway, it may not have, but the time that it's taken, the extra time that I've had in the middle has changed the way that I've thought about my trip, and I've decided to get the most out of it because I think I started to take it for granted that I could go traveling whenever I wanted, and I could do these things whenever I wanted. What that meant was that a lot of the time my plans were always on the back burner, weirdly, because I could do them whenever I wanted. I can do that whenever, and I didn't think about it. It wasn't at the forefront of my mind. Where actually now my time has become far more precious and my reasons and availability for travel fewer. So now I've got to make the most out of everything that I've done. So those unexpected changes have actually changed my outlook on things. And now I've decided, well, actually, rather than going through the motions and doing Everest Base Camp a 5th, a 6th, a 7th time, I'm actually going to start ticking off those personal bucket list items of mine that I were on the back burner. And one of those has always been that I want to train and I want to attempt a summit of Mount Everest. Now I'm not going to get there by just going to Everest Base Camp over and over again, which is amazing and I would happily do, but I wanted to climb a 6,000 meter Himalayan peak. I wanted to climb Aconcagua. So now there's a very real plan in place for those things. So I think that's what's happened to me more unexpected than anything, is that it's actually made me value my trips, value my time outside this country, and actually focus it more on my personal goals than just kind of going with the flow.
Also, I love that. I suppose you're right, isn't it? Because there's certain things, as you were saying that, I was thinking, because we've had so many different messages and emails and conversations with people over the last kind of 2 years around similar experiences to yours then, Dave. People who haven't been able to go. People who have been like, almost let down, because restrictions come in place. And then it's like, oh, what do I do now? But I know when you refocus on a particular plan, it certainly gives you a bit more motivation, right? In terms of, getting off your backside and getting ready for it.
Well, that's it.
And I think when you, and I know for yourself, Dave, I know this for a lot of Evertrekkers, when you finally get out there and achieve what you want to achieve, I think you'll have all the better time for it because you've been waiting so damn long. It's like, it's amazing, really. And I mean, just reading through some of the comments, and Mick's put on there about, you had a bit of a road traffic accident on ice climbing last weekend. Hope all was okay. Mick, I know you said no one's injured, but it must have been a hell of an adventure. But it's these kind of things do kind of, sorry to use road as an analogy, but you take a different road, don't you? And that road's okay. That road will work out. If you keep going and keep that mindset of, Okay, so what? It's a new road.
Yeah,
I mean, what lies at the end of this road? It doesn't have to be a bad road. And I like that, Dave. Yeah, which one are you going to climb? Mera?
Mera, yeah,
Nice.
Mera. That's the idea.
6476. Nice.
And yeah, I need to try and convince a good mate of mine to actually come with me. It would feel a bit wrong, I think, summiting out there unless he was with me. I don't know whether I got to ask him on the live, or do I tap the window and ask the wife?
You don't have to ask. It's
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, because
we'll see what continent I'm on, mate.
yeah, exactly. Yeah, but I do think that. But yeah, talking about roads as well. One of the going back to 2019, one of the
Yeah,
big changes actually, which very relevant, bring it down from the dreams to the very real, is the changes we had to make to get to the airport. Many
yeah,
of these
yeah,
people
yeah,
on here now who
yeah.
have done it will know about Ramachap and things like that, and it's almost become one of those things where you roll your eyes when you hear the word, but actually it's not the case.
Ramachap.
Yeah, exactly. But
Oh,
Ramachap
wow.
is yeah. So for those that don't know, and for those watchers, listeners, viewers, for the audience that doesn't know and hasn't been yet,
Yeah,
there's two ways to get to Lukla. Basically, well, there's three ways. You can overland it. We don't well. I recommend it, but if you've got the time. But we focus primarily on the Lukla flight, which is like an adventure all on its own. There's a couple of rolling with the punches stories I can tell you about those flights. But
yeah.
the biggest one that might impact you is sometimes we go from Kathmandu, sometimes we actually have to go to Ramachap. Michael Gillies there, great off-road
Hey,
experience to
Mike.
Ramachap.
How's it going, mate?
That's the attitude that I'm leaning towards. I think I was out there with Michael Gillies. I think we passed on the mountain on
You did.
Tengboche, I think,
Take watch on
potentially.
the way downhill. Yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
I remember
So
you with an Irish voice, and I was like, hey, here we go.
yeah. So yeah, it is one of those things where we get little notice. The airport authorities might suddenly decide to divert 2/3 of their flights via Ramachap, and if that's the case, you have a little adventure before the adventure.
Yeah,
So, and it's a several-hour bumpy journey across Nepal into the lowlands to a place called Mulkot, which is where we stay before we go to Ramachap, which is where the airport is. And I'll be honest, the first time I ever had to do it, I got there and I was a little bit like, oh, a long drive. But actually, I loved it. It was
yeah,
bumpy. It was like an off-road adventure. We were all laughing in the minibus every time we went over a jump. And also, I got to see an area of Nepal I never would have seen before. It was fantastic. My uncle actually came with us only to do the Lukla flight. He
wow.
always wanted to do it, the most dangerous airport in the world, 15, the shortest runway in the world. He always wanted to do it. And so he had to do the drive. So he did the drive there, flew to Lukla, stayed the night, flew back the next day. So he done that drive twice in like 3 days. But yeah, that's one of those little changes that
Yeah,
can be unexpected that you just need to kind of roll with. And, rather than seeing it as like an obstacle and a problem, see it
yeah,
as an adventure. You have to, part of the adventure, and also you've got to get to base camp. That's
yeah. And
I'd crawl over broken glass if I had to. So a
wow.
minibus ride on a bumpy road is easy.
Yeah, it's interesting, isn't it? Because I know it was unexpected for us as a business because we were. I mean, this was every company, by the way. If you've been around, and sorry if all the usual Evertrekkers, if we sound like a broken record, because we have talked about this quite a bit over the years. But yeah, because it was enforced by the Nepalese Aviation Authority, because they had to do developments in Kathmandu. So literally, they said that only international flights were allowed to come in and out of Kathmandu Airport, which is like, okay, well, and the nearest one was this one that Dave was talking about, Ramachap, which, because you think logistically, you're thinking, okay, well, how long does it take to get there? What about, do we leave early in the morning or do we go the night before? And, there's lots that came into it, but luckily we found out very early because of our, we're very, very close with our team over in Nepal, and they got, the contacts are good. We always tend to know things quite early. So we booked up most of the accommodation that was quite local to where the airport, still very basic. I'll share a video actually in a bit about how basic it is. You might have seen before, but essentially we got there quite early, so we were quite lucky. Still, obviously, there's the job of saying, "Hey guys, we had to make changes to, because this is events travel. That we were not going to go from Kathmandu anymore. We have to drive, then fly to Kathmandu to Lukla. And it's always that bit of to and fro because we go to expect the unexpected, and being told that something's different to how it was before. There's always that trepidation, right? There's always that, oh, okay, oh, why? So yeah, we've obviously had to adapt and try and make that as clear as possible. And it does happen. And potentially, I know Dave, we were talking about it the other day that we've heard some on the grapevine they might still be doing it now, which
Yeah,
is
so
always a bit of a okay. But again, it's an awesome journey.
it's one of those where they were renewing the runway in Kathmandu International Airport. There's only one international runway. Managing the air traffic is quite difficult with all the flights going like Lukla every 20 minutes, and then they've got the big jets coming in. And when they diverted everyone to Ramachap, they were like, "Oh my God, this is amazing!" So yeah, and then they decided, well, actually, they're going to keep this year on year. Just so happens, there hasn't been many people back, but it's so it's a possibility that it could happen. Ramona, you've spelled it just a little bit wrong. It's AK. AKSHIT is the name of the hotel. But yeah, that hotel is I've stayed there 3 times now, and every time there's always a little surprise. The first time I stayed there was with I think Andy, and then we had there's a video, isn't it, of just what that was actually like.
Do you want me to put that on here now?
Yeah, put it on, because
right, here we go. You're going to be hearing the audio, and this is Dave. Clearly, he'd won the toss.
Go on.
Hey guys, Dave from Evertrek here. Just want to demonstrate Andy's bed for tonight.
Lovely 5-star accommodation.
Wow.
Yeah, that was I remember when you sat down on it. You were like, Dave! They basically just draped a curtain over a wooden board, which was like your mattress.
Yeah, I know they've done some developments to that accommodation now, but again, I expected the unexpected. But you know what? I had a great sleep. It's a travel, isn't it? Anything happens. Go with the flow, guys, as much as you can.
Yeah.
But anyway, that was fun accommodation. And I was only fair. I didn't want to pull rank and say, Dave, that's my bed. I was only fair because it was a lovely double bed there with a soft mattress, and then there was this plank of wood. And I lost the toss. Fair and square.
Mate, coin toss is sacred, mate. Coin toss is sacred. But
some funny comments, guys. I'm just going to read from Bry. Bry, happy New Year, mate. Great to see you back running. On our trip to EBC, they run out of Everest beer in the hotel, but we adapted and overcome. We drank Gurkha beer instead. Honestly, that's tickled me, that one. That's brilliant, mate. That's great. I tell you what, whilst everyone's here, because I obviously got married at the back end of last year, we've only had a couple of Tuesday tune-ins, and I haven't been able to thank a few people who made this, because I'm going to pull this up. Now, I don't know if you can see there, but definitely the rosy cheeks and the clearly the mileage on the face has been portrayed very well for me.
Yeah,
love Ellie and Jen as well. But no, I just want to say a big thank you to the group that put that together. Dave and some of the team gave that to us on the wedding day, and it was amazing. Thank you to I think it was Karen.
Yeah, no, I actually
the people who organised that. Thanks, guys. That was amazing.
It took I was organizing that for a long time. I had Karen helped a little bit, but the rest of the time I was actually liaising with everyone, collecting everything, organizing it, proofing it and all stuff like that. So it was actually quite a difficult gift for me to actually arrange. But again, like I said, there may have been some other people involved. I think I think Karen had something to do with it, but I'm not entirely sure.
It's a good job, Karen. I don't always listen to Dave.
Yeah, I should say I was absolutely no help whatsoever. Karen tried to help me, but yeah, if anyone's tried to message me on Facebook, they'll understand how poor I am at getting back to people. I just don't check the messages. There's too many on I think there's about 300 unread messages on my Facebook now. So
wow, Dave.
Yeah, I just I don't use it very often. So find out my WhatsApp if you can, and that's a better way.
We should post Dave's WhatsApp number on here. You'd love that.
Yeah.
But no, honestly, thank you guys. I wanted to get that in today because I know I haven't had a chance to thank the individuals who. I think there was quite a number of you. And apologies if I don't remember everyone. I know Dave did say that, Karen, you were very important in getting this done. And I know a lot of you, including Bry. Obviously really meant a lot. I'd had a few beers by the time they'd given me this. So if there's any videos they've sent you that with any reactions, I might have been a little bit drunk. But yeah, I hope just want to say a huge thanks, obviously for
Yeah.
me, Jen and Ellie. It was
And
awesome.
yeah, you only had 2 modes at that wedding, and that was drunk or crying.
It was
Everyone
emotional
said
day.
everyone said it was an emotional day. It was an emotional day. It was an
Yeah.
emotional day. I'm almost impossible to break. I can watch Marley and Me and laugh at the end.
Wow.
But yeah, nothing. That's just I don't, but I could. Yeah, nothing gets me. But yeah, that was there was a couple of moments during that day where I was like, yeah, it got
Yeah, it
me.
was. I know. But you got me a few times, and it was a very good speech. Dave was one of
Oh,
our best men, and he did fantastic.
Rosie cried quite a lot, quite audibly loud during the. I was watching her. She was stood next to me, and she was a little bit emotional, and then all of a sudden Ellie came out and read her piece, and Rosie went like, "Ah!" Like, and it was the loudest wail I've ever heard.
Oh no, that was a great moment, But
Rosie, do you want to wave to everyone and show everyone? There's Rosie over
hey Rosie,
there.
I'm away from the office because of my lurgy, so but can't wait to.
Yeah, your bandmate. You've got a red X on the yak.
Definitely.
I should say the yak is Andy's pub.
But yeah, it was which was unexpected, right? I rolled with it. I've come here instead of going into the office, right? That's my expect the unexpected. But yeah, so there's a few bits there, and I suppose I hope we've covered that in a positive light as much as we can around rolling with the punches, and it is adventure travel, and I think one thing we always say, I think if you're on here now, you're probably and I almost certainly you are part of this group is that you're used to adventure travel. You kind of roll with the punches type people. You're in the right spot because it's not for everyone. There's people who, go into on a bumpy road or having certain things happen. It's not right for her. And we always obviously try and make things as best as possible and create an awesome experience. That's what we're all about. But also as well, we're all about just telling you how it is. And if we don't like you to go out there and be, hey, that was a surprise. We want to let you know how it is, and that's the good, the bad, and the ugly. We don't even. Hopefully, won't even come into it. But anyway, that was our little starter for now. And as we head into 2022, let's make it an awesome year. Whatever happens this year, the unexpected, the expected. Let's have an amazing year and get back to what we're doing.
Yeah, awesome.
Is trekking and climbing and adventure travel. That's what we love.
Yeah. Tom Massetto, since his first high altitude trek, he's become more emotional. Tom, did you get engaged on your trek? I can't remember. There's so many Toms, but I know one of them got engaged on the trek, or went there with a partner and maybe got engaged when they got back. I don't know. Anyway, if it was you, congratulations. I'm sure it's belated. But yeah, what do you think, Anne? I know, I'll make him emotional. That'd be it. Yeah. Talking about one more thing about Karen is as well. She hand delivered that picture to the office just before the wedding, and I just want to point out that we're in South Wales and she lives in Scotland. So that was one like I even said like I would have just posted it and it would have probably got shattered. But what do you reckon, Anne? Should we dive in?
That job.
Yeah. Not it's not Tom, but anyway, Tom, that's a future congratulations then if you're not already engaged.
But Dave, right? I know I'm just going through now because I know we've tagged on, but we've had quite a few questions coming today.
Yeah, mate. Yeah, quite a few.
Can we start answering them?
Yeah, exactly. By the way, Lauren has pointed out that she will be counting the sneezes. And you're doing quite well, Andy. Oh, do you know what? It's so annoying. Andy sneezes once every 32 seconds throughout his entire life, except when you're waiting for him to sneeze. On his stag do, we had these Andy bingo cards, and every time we got like bingo, he had to do a shot. It's a stag do. And one of them was sneezes. And do you know what? I waited for about 48 hours for a sneeze. The moment I went back to the hotel, the boys were texting me, he sneezed! But you had to be there to mark it off. So obviously didn't do it. But yeah, so first question, Andrea, Happy New Year to us. Happy New Year to you. Your question is about the booster jab and the requirement to have it to enter Nepal. You're reading mixed messages on this. Does fully vaccinated mean the first 2 jabs or the 2 jabs plus a booster? You won't have it in time. So basically, my understanding is that it's just the initial 2 jabs. I don't think anyone as of yet is asking you to have also had the booster as a requirement for entry, just the first 2. That may change given more time to allow for the booster to be rolled out. But at the moment, I believe it's just the 2 jabs that are required in order to get in. That'll give you like fully vaccinated status as far as their sort of immigration goes. So yeah, that would be good.
Nice, Dave. Just off the back of that as well, I think also, obviously we always get our information from the same places that you guys do, which is from the government website. Which, although this week we saw there was a little error on there, and obviously the Nepalese side, obviously we'll share as if anything does change, that it's 3. But yeah, as far as we know, yeah, it is just 2.
Yeah,
that you need proof of, and do check those websites, guys. I know there's a lot of places you've got to go, but because we'll obviously try and help as much as we can with like obviously answering these questions. But with regards to COVID rules, they do change like every day. We're not always in track with all the countries every day. If there's any changes, if there are any changes, do let us know, because it's good to share that. But always check that information is correct, obviously before sharing it as well on any social media, please.
Yeah.
Obviously we want the right information, but it's always good just to go and check the the exact information.
Yeah.
But yeah, currently, Dave, that's what it is, isn't it?
I believe so, yeah. I mean, there's always, whenever you're dealing with these sort of, there's always a slight disconnect and a slight differences between sometimes what the FCO are advising on their website and also what the local situation on the ground is. My personal recommendation is obviously, we'll assist as much as we can. And if you call or email, you'll get the most up-to-date information from what we understand. But also, there's a couple of people, like a customer I spoke to yesterday, Paul, actually called the Nepalese embassy himself just to kind of double check some information. These are some of the habits I highly recommend people get into, because you hear about embassies and contacting them, but not a lot of people know that you can contact them just for ask some general questions. So if you're traveling in a country, obviously we'll help you as much as we can. But if you are of in mind that you want to find this, go straight to the horse's mouth, then you can contact the embassy and get that information as well. So yeah, awesome.
Exactly. Nice, Dave. Nice. What else we got?
Dave Hampson, Davey boy.
Hey,
So this might be one that we can follow up with, because it might be quite a long answer with all the countries. Can you give us an update as to where we are with COVID in the trekking countries and any complexities involved to get there and back, and any which you can't travel to right now? So that's probably going to be quite a big answer to go through all of the complexities. I can give you the information for the top ones like Nepal and Tanzania and things like that. But it might be best, Dave, if you drop us an email so I can give you that answer in full and not take up the next 20 minutes on the tune-in. But essentially, for Nepal, you have to be fully vaccinated. That's the 2 jabs. And you have to have a negative PCR within 72 hours of arrival. You also then need a PCR to get back into the airport. So I recommend pre-booking that. Tanzania, there's no vaccination requirement, but you do need a PCR within 96 hours. And they will lateral flow test you at the airport at a cost of $10. So you need to be prepared with the cash to pay for that. And the rest of the countries, I believe they all have varying sort of rules. But like I said, drop us an email and I'll follow up with you on that in a more detailed way.
Yeah, just to, exactly. Yeah, we obviously COVID's still a huge part of it, guys, and we know that we felt like we talked about it so much because it's still relevant, isn't it? And I think, with COVID in each country, at the moment, the only country we can't technically travel to is Morocco, right, Dave?
Yeah.
But the UK, the rest of the countries we can. It's just because of our dates and the seasons, really, that we're not like in Nepal. But there are customers out in Nepal, not with us, but with other companies right now. And the same with the others. Obviously, Kili. We haven't got any South American trips to later in the year, which we're really excited for. But yeah, it's definitely worth any specific information, Dave. Definitely drop us an email. And I think there's, again, expect the unexpected. I think we need, I think we've all learned to be a bit more flexible than normal over the last sort of 24 months. with COVID, and I think we're still going to have to be. Like luckily with these kind of trips, isn't it? I mean, because Dave, we've talked about this over the last week or so. Because we're really, and I suppose a big thanks from us to all of you guys as well that you've all stayed with us. Because we are although a relatively big company now, we're still in essence, quite a small company really. But the fact is that we're here and we're still actually looking to go traveling, even during the last 24 months, is because of you guys, and you're still choosing to want to go on these trips essentially. And we have to say thank you for that, for doing that and supporting us, because we've had a very, very low cancellation rate. Because these types of trips, and just to be frank with you, for these type of trips, it's great that they are the kind of bucket list trips, aren't they? Like with Everest, it's not like you change your mind. You still want to go there if you've got that seed or that itch. It's never really going to go away until you do it. I mean, we know that. You had that itch since you were a kid, and then you achieved it in your early 30s, and it opened up a whole world of possibilities. And
I'm here now.
And I kind of I just want to say thanks, really, obviously to all of you that are still on here, and I can't wait to take you finally on your trips. But as we go into 2022, and this is off the back of Dave Hampson's question, hopefully those restrictions will be as big and as too many hoops as there were last year. But good question, Dave.
Cheers, mate.
Sorry, Dave. Thanks, Rebecca.
Right then, mate. Am I batter up? Am I, mate? Batter up.
I suppose, there's me. I feel like you're Australia and I'm England at the moment, and I'm just bowling. Right, okay. Well, Diane, Happy New Year. Hope all is well. Hi, Andy and Dave. What are your thoughts about Peru? Any other trekkers managed to get out there since we created the trip? First lockdown? No, it's super excited, Diane. We can't wait for it. This is to anyone going to South America, especially with Peru. Our Tomokaea trip to Machu Picchu. We can't wait to run that. You may have caught us chatting earlier about Dave trying to get me to go and climb Meru with him. It's because I might be in South America, all going well, and I'll be going on that particular route. So I'll probably be in Peru in the spring. Hopefully, I'll be able to get over and climb Meru with you as well, mate. But just around we haven't. I mean, because Diane, you've been with us now since the beginning of lockdown, so you know the score. If we were in Peru, you would know. But we're not. We haven't had any trips run since March 2020, except a couple in Nepal, a couple in Morocco, and some in Tanzania. So we can't wait to run that trip. That was a kind of new trip because it was a brand new route that no one else does in the UK. So we are very, very proud to create that one, but we can't wait to run it on a personal note as well, because it's such a different way of getting there. And I'm really excited to get some juicy content for you guys, obviously because I'll be going over there as well, so I can share with you, because there's not much content around for the Tomokaea route.
No, and we were lucky enough to catch up with Juan Carlos, heads up our team over there, and we met him in London just before Christmas, and it was he's a fascinating guy, actually. It was the first time I've actually met him in the flesh. Andy, I know you met him previously, and we were chatting about him and his history, and he is so attuned to what makes a good trip. I mean, he's got 11 summits of Aconcagua. He used to be a mountain guide, and he knows, and he's been in the region enough. I know Aconcagua's Argentina, but he's been in Peru and Colombia and all the places in South America that are adventurous by nature, and knows what makes them a good trip. And we've really fine-tuned that one. That's a really special trip, and it's just so frustrating that things haven't happened. But again, we're rolling with the punches. It's going to be worth the wait. And this is what life is like now. You plan for the best and make these trips matter, right? Which is what I was saying at the beginning.
Exactly.
But so moving on. So
brilliant. Sorry, just read Andy's message. Emirates double decker just flew over on the way into Manchester. Is that a sign, Andy? It is.
It's a sign, mate. It is a sign. Andy McNaughton Jones, how's it going, mate? Long time contributor now, I would say, old Andy.
Hey, Andy.
Aconcagua summiter, I believe, and I hope so. Man, it's been so long. I'm out of practice, but I think he's acting out summer.
Yeah.
So for our expeditions, we have an evac plan that we share with the clients, what the cost of aborting the trip is, if it's outside of medical insurance, etc. Okay, so the plan is pretty much the same in whatever trip that we do, which is that we will just get a helicopter evac to wherever the person is that needs to be taken down, and we'll get them to the nearest point of safety. Now, sometimes that's, if I use Nepal, for example, sometimes that's back to Lukla, sometimes it can be Namche, most probably Lukla, and then sometimes even Kathmandu, depending on the condition. Insurance is really there to protect you guys. So we can always get you a helicopter in the event where a decision has to be made to sort of evacuate somebody. Whether or not you have insurance or not is secondary to sort of, preservation of health and life. So we'll get you one. The question then becomes who pays the bill at the end for the chopper? Is it going to be you or the insurance company? So having the insurance company is always good because they will pick up the bill in almost all sets of circumstances. If it's a case where you have to turn back for one reason or another because of maybe like a weather issue or something like that, the guides always work with contingencies in terms of where we can go then. We don't just want to evacuate in a chopper back to town. We want to salvage as much as we can. So if we find that something is impassable, we'll go round it. If we can't go forward, we'll find an entertaining way back. So yeah, it is, hopefully that's kind of explained it a little bit, but remember the crux of the matter is that if you need to abort the trip for whatever reason, that can always be arranged. The plan is always the same. We've got the choppers backing us up. Andy, yeah, not to the very top. Oh, interesting. I'd be very interested to actually hear more about your story, actually, and find out your experience in Aconcagua. So if you wouldn't mind dropping me an email, mate, one day, just let me know, and I'd love to have a chat with you about that, because obviously it's something I'm looking to do myself, and like everything, I like to soak up as much information, and you guys are a fountain of knowledge, to be fair. We learn just as much from you as you do us. So
yeah, we always talk about that. Obviously, Evertrek is all about the community. And that's the collective of the community. We've got people of varied experiences, and it's good to tap into. People like Andy. Lots of, loads of you have done Everest Base Camp on here now. Loads of you have done Kili on here right now. Lots of you have done Machu Picchu. There's so much experience in this, and obviously we share our experiences to try and help you guys. Because we kind of know what kind of works at altitude, but.
Yeah,
it's nothing quite like getting it, from the horse's mouth, and you can hear, what it was like Andy was saying about Aconcagua, and all the different places that we go to. Yeah, so yeah, it's great to have lots of.
I mean, and also it's in. Sorry, and I think it's a slight delay. I think it's one of those where I'm also very interested in people's stories when they, what Andy just said, then not to the summit. That's really interesting. I want to know why. I want to know what could have gone differently and things like that, because many of you all know the story of my dad, Doug, who went to base camp with me in 2017 and 2019. 2017, he didn't make it all the way to base camp. And the lessons he learned from that are far more valuable to me and to you and anecdotally to the rest of the people than perhaps me just saying, yeah, you'll be fine. You can get to the top. I got to the top and there was no problems at all. I felt fine. We're actually learning from the difficulties, actually gives you the knowledge of what you can avoid going back. So, really interested in that. Awesome. Right, Anne, do you want to take the next one?
Yeah, well, actually, funny enough, Mike Gillies was asking, how's the knee?
Oh yeah, it's getting better. Honestly, it's one of those where I'm in a stage now where I've actually got like full movement back. I'm about 6 months post-op or 5 months post-op. I had it at the end of June. Is that 5 or 6 months? I can't know. Anyway, 5 or 6 months post-op. Full range of movement has returned now, so I can bend my knee like that, and I can straighten it nice and straight. But the issue I've got now is that my left quad is lost quite a lot of muscle compared to my right quad. So I'm noticing that I'm compensating a lot when I'm riding my bike and hiking and walking, that my right leg's doing most of the effort. So I need to do some isolated exercises on that leg now, in the gym and stuff like that. And one-legged squats, but I can't do that now. I haven't got the strength, but like you hold on to something and like kind of control the weight. That's what I'm going to be doing to build that leg up now. But thanks for asking. The chronicles continue.
Mark Coyne, Mark. Hi guys, regarding EBC, finally go on 6th of April. Awesome. God, so close. Third time lucky. I know we get picked up from the airport on arrival. Do we get taken back upon departure? I know you stay an extra day. Was wondering how far the airport is. Yeah. So Mark, basically arrivals, departures, that's all covered by us, mate. Even if you stay in extra days, you just let the guys know at the hotel, and they can liaise. You'll have a briefing when you get to the hotel anyway, with all of your group, with Anuj or one of the team there, and they'll tell you everything you need to know about sort of coming and goings and what you need to do, and they give you your t-shirts and they'll basically give you your bags and things like that. So it's all covered there. But essentially when you leave, mate, you get the transfer back to the airport before we give you a hug and wave goodbye after an awesome trip. So we got that covered. I hope that answers your question, Mark. What else we got? Dave, any other questions, mate?
I've got one. Mike Arens. How's it going, Mike? Early on, you heard talk about gifts for the children along the trails. And since both yourself and your partner have contacts in dentistry, you wondered if toothbrushes and toothpaste would be welcome items. If not, any suggestions and recommendations for tipping of local guides. So first of all, always so kind of you guys to want to bring stuff out there and make someone's day, because it really does. When you see the children, so they're there, sometimes they like sweets and things like that. Honestly, there's no right or wrong answer to that. I'm sure things like that will be really valuable to them. The other things that people like, just little things they haven't got, and anything they haven't got, like toys, little pens, pencils, coloring books, that sort of thing. It's all really, really valuable. My favorite is I just bring sweets. I always have a pocket full of sweets and I just hand them out. But I think anything like that, if you've got access to those types of things and you want to bring them out and hand them out, 100% do that, Mike, because they will really, really enjoy that. Also, tipping for your guides. So we recommend put in about 10% of the trip cost aside for tips at the end. What generally tends to happen then is you're in a group of, say, 12 people. You all put the tips together in one big tipping pool in the kitty, and then one or two of you will sort of take charge and divide it up for the team. So this usually takes me and Andy about 10 minutes at the end when we're in Lukla, and generally the lion's share goes to the head guide. A slightly lower amount to his assistant guides, a slightly lower amount then to the porters. If for whatever reason something happens and you've got the money but you're not divvying it up, you can just give it to the guide and ask him to do that. But I always think it's a really nice touch for you guys to actually hand that over yourself. It's always a really nice time, and generally on our trips we buy them some beer at Lukla, we get them some food, and we all sit together, and it might even be one of the first times where all the guides, all the customers, all the porters are all together at the same time, who don't have to get up early. We're celebrating, we're having a good time. So I always think it's a nice touch to do it that way.
Yeah, nice, Dave, nice. Like Karen's asked, how much of older trekkers pay for travel insurance? Over 50s first. Ooh, I think there'll be a few over 50s to say older. But Karen, good question. I've seen a few comments actually, just reading through, about a couple of examples. I think Jim mentions paid £216 with Big Cat. B60 does at EBC. I think that seems to be about right. I think about £200 for insurance if you're of the mature level, but it does sort of go all the way from say £80 all the way up to some. I've seen some £300-400 if you've got any health conditions. They might have a bit of an excess. So it's quite open ended. I mean, always worth. Campbell Irvine seemed to be good. Big Cat, obviously True Traveller. We had Tim from True Traveller back sort of towards the end of last year. They're doing great, by the way, and they were. I had an email from Tim actually recently, but he's excited to have the season coming along. But with that, I just recommend having a little check, Karen, and seeing how much. I think someone about your age, Karen, I reckon 180, £200, something like that, probably good to aim for.
Yeah, awesome. Second question now from Sarah Balla, who said there seems to be a lot of mixed advice on taking Diamox. Do you have any recommendation? Do you recommend taking it 24 hours before the climb, or start when you experience symptoms of altitude sickness? So, Sarah, you have stumbled across one of the
Biggies.
tricky things about high altitude trekking, which is when, how, and to take Diamox. Now,
Yeah.
I've taken it when I was on Kilimanjaro. I took it after I started experiencing some of the symptoms that were making me a little off. So I didn't wait until I was really unwell. And I guess this is perhaps due to my experience, where I knew I'd been to altitude many times before, and I knew that what I was experiencing when I was on Kilimanjaro wasn't quite right, and I wasn't quite firing on all cylinders. So I started taking Diamox, half a pill in the evening, half a pill in the morning, with my food, and that was enough. And that alleviated my symptoms, and I carried on. Now, if you haven't got the experience and you go in there for the first time ever and you're thinking, Diamox, how do I take it? You'll get this. You can get 2 bits of advice from 2 different doctors or nurses. I recommend going to a travel clinic. I always bring my own Diamox. However, it's important to point out that the guides do carry it. They have a full high altitude first aid kit, but I always bring my own. I get it from a company called Nomad Travel Clinic, with this in Cardiff, but there's a few around the UK. And they'll give you advice on how to take it. I've had 2 sets of advice. One of them is, if you want to take it before you go, that's a personal choice. It's recommended you take a pill or 2 at home in the UK just to test your reaction to it. And then when you go out there, then you can start taking it pretty much, when you arrive in Lukla. Half a pill in the morning, half in the evening. And then if you start feeling ill, you can then up that to a full pill in the evening and a full pill in the morning. I've also been told, if you don't plan on taking it, have it with you and follow that same routine, but start when you start feeling the symptoms of altitude sickness, or when your guide advises you to.
Nice.
And then you've got to keep taking it. And then it's important all the way until you reach the same altitude as when you started. Don't stop taking it when you're still at altitude because you feel better, because all of a sudden then you might feel a bit worse. I have written a little blog about that, so maybe Lauren can find that blog on Diamox.
She's already done it. She's already posted it on there. Look at that. Well done, Lauren. She's
good,
that
isn't she? She's good.
on Diamox. It's updated as well, because as with anything like this, our opinions have changed, especially about Diamox, since we've seen dozens and dozens of our Evertrekkers use it. I've had family members use it. I've used it once for just for one night, just to test it. But I can't give any personal experience, but I know that it is. Yeah, we always say using it as from a reactive point of view, where you've got room to go, is always the best way. Just our opinions. Like Dave said, there's so many people out there that've got to use it like this, use it like this. Your doctor will say one way, travel clinic will say the other. From experience and seeing it in action, if after sort of 3, 4, 5 days and you're suffering with altitude issues, our guides do carry it, so you can start taking it then, and it will help you, because then once it helps you, then you've got a chance of getting to where you want to get to. If you start taking it before you go and then start your trip and you still get altitude issues, you haven't got very far to go before you might have to turn you around. So just bear that in mind when you're on the trek, especially base camp. Look at the altitude profile. But this is why we always, if you're on any of our trips, if it's base camp, Kili, Toubkal aside, because it is up and down, but places like Machu Picchu, all of our trips tend to go the long way, which are already built for acclimatization. So instead of relying on Diamox, just think about speed, think about hydration, focus on those 2 things, and keep your mind positive. Maybe you won't even use Diamox, but it's good to have there in your back pocket just in case.
Yeah.
Nice, Dave. Nice. Well, it feels like we've waited until now. We got like loads of questions coming through, because I'm just seeing a bunch coming through from Lauren.
I know. It's
quick fire for these.
Okay.
Excuse me. Oh, this is one for you, Dave, about photochromic glasses.
Oh, okay. But is it better to wear ski goggles over the top of them to block glare from the sides, or can I just use glasses? Danny, I've always just used glasses. When you're going on a super high summit, even I'm thinking Aconcagua, you might start wearing things like the snow goggles. But even on Everest, people can still wear glasses. You can buy ones with like the shields on the side. They don't have to be like the leather ones. They can actually be a bit of plastic that goes there. I recommend Jublo. They're or Julbo. They're a really good make. They're the only ones that I've used. They're very popular in high altitude climates, and they do have that like a lens that kind of reacts to the light and stuff. The photochromatic ones, I think you can get those in Jublos as well. Like you can have the lens put in, so it's like that. So I recommend those Jublos and start there. That would be the place where I look.
Nice.
Let's have a quick look.
Yeah, got someone here, Sarah. I may add to this: how essential are sunglasses? I think, yeah, on all of our trips because at high altitude, you know, you're more because you're higher up, you do have more UV rays that come down. So we say they're essential.
Yeah.
You know, obviously we don't want to see everyone in sunglasses, but if you need them, it's important to have them. You know, you got to look after those eyes, haven't you, as much as you can. So yeah, definitely, I'd recommend if you're on our trips, bring sunglasses. Definitely.
Yeah. Danny Mitchell said for tip-in, do you do this back at the hotel after the climb? Presumably it needs to be cash, if so, local or dollars. So pretty much any currency is accepted. I think it's much easier if you use dollars because just it's a currency you understand, they understand. If you mix currencies, it can take a bit longer and be a bit of a nightmare to kind of work out how much you've got. Generally, it requires a telephone and some internet access to work out you know, what the equivalence is. So I think dollars is the easiest. And do it if we're talking about Nepal, you generally do it in Lukla when you get back the night before you get a flight back, because your porters and everyone will probably stay behind in Lukla to do another trip. So you do it there. If you're talking about Kilimanjaro, you'll do it back at the hotel. And on the other trips as well, most of them arrive back at the hotel, but it's just Nepal in the Everest region you'll tend to do it in Lukla. So yeah, hopefully that's sorted that out.
Just got one here, Dave. Just from Shane Oakley. EBC starts 29th of October. Flights all booked. Nice, organised. 28th. Do you book the extra night at the hotel? Do we pay them direct? Oh, I see. Yeah, so you're staying an extra day. Great stuff, Shane. Yeah. All you need to do when you upload your flight details, or you give us your flight details, we'll see that you're staying there an additional day. We'll reserve the accommodation for you. Just pay for it at the hotel. At the hotel in Kathmandu, mate. Okay, so yeah, don't pay us for that. Just so it's easier just to deal directly with the hotel. But we'll sort the reservations out for you, because all of our Evertrekkers stay at Hotel Aloft in Kathmandu, which is awesome. Some of our Evertrekkers who are on here have stayed there, and I know that their bar lasts a very, very long time. I think it was 10 days before Bry ran the beer drive. So yeah, we got plenty.
Yep. Awesome. And last question, Sarah Piper Smith. What's the average group size for Mera?
Ryland.
And for the climbing section, what's the client guide ratio? So to be honest, the average group size for Mera is probably 1 to 2. People in terms of Mera, you don't get huge numbers going to Mera, so the groups are very small. So predominantly the guide to client ratio is pretty much 1 to 1 or 1 to 2. It is a trekking peak. There's nothing particularly technical about it. Island Peak's a little bit more technical than Mera. Mera Peak is, you know, there is some fixed rope use and crampon use, but nothing sort of technical, no ladder crossings or anything like that. But on our trips, predominantly it's 1 to 1 or 1 to 2.
Nice. Yeah. Sarah came with us to base camp long time ago in 2017 with her brother Stuart. But yeah, Sarah, welcome back to dry land. I know you've been overseas or on the sea for a long time, but yeah, hope all is well, mate. Great stuff, Dave. Wow, we bashed through it there, but some awesome questions. Right, wow, can't believe it's almost 1:30. It's flown by this live first one.
I know, it's crazy. I can't believe. I've been looking forward to it though. It feels weird on a Tuesday when we don't do a live. I find myself just, you know, walking out into the street and saying, "Anyone, any questions?"
Brilliant. Well, look, it's been great to be back. You know, we got a big year ahead of us, a lot of trips to go on, but we're still going to run these. You know, as and when we're free, we're gonna still put in the diary every Tuesday. You know, unless we're away or you know we're off at this, etc. But we're going to keep these guys because we know that, or we hope at least that, you know, they've been useful. I know we started these, was it March 2020? We started our first one, but which is nuts.
Yeah, it's a long time ago. To think in March now it'll be 2 years.
I know, it's crazy, but it's great as well. I mean, this is, you know, we expect the unexpected. I mean, you know, we say that the Tuesday Tune-In was created because of COVID, essentially, because it pushed us to do this kind of thing. And whilst you guys had more time and we had more time, now we have to fit it in because we realize how important it is. But no, it's great. And look, you know, we'll be here next week. Hopefully, I'll be back in the office with you, Dave, if I've shifted the lurgy. But yeah, Dave, any final thoughts, mate, before we
No, just great to be back. Great to see all you guys and also all the people that watch this after the live on YouTube, Facebook, however. Please know you're all equally as valued. it still blows my mind that we come back in every Tuesday and all you guys are here to just join in with us and chat all things trekking, mountain, fun and banter. It's it's a good feeling, and I'm ready to kick off 2022. And yeah,
great stuff. Nice. All right, guys. Well, we'll see you next week. Have an awesome weekend as we weekend as we creep towards it, and we'll see you next Tuesday.
take it easy.
Bye.